Hey, Book Baddie!
Welcome to the Bound to be Bad podcast,
A book club podcast where we discuss one book a season from the perspective of someone who's never read the book before.
and from the perspective of someone who has. This season, we are so excited to be reading Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros with you.
I'm Casper. My pronouns are they, she, and I'm the first-year cadet.
And I'm Cierra. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the wing leader.
We aim to rave and rant about anything and everything that comes to mind while reading. But please note, this podcast will be discussing book spoilers as we talk about each week's chapters.
As this will be Casper's first time reading, spoilers for anything beyond the already read material is not fair game.
This podcast is run by adults who will most likely be using adult language and talking about adult themes. So please be aware of your surroundings while listening.
These thoughts and opinions are expressly our own and by no means reflect those of the original author. Reading is a privilege, books are art, and art is subjective.
That being said, we'd love for you to read along with us and share your thoughts and opinions as well.
So without further ado, prepare to enter Bezgaeth War College. New here? No worries. Here's how this conversation is about to go down. First, a little about us. This is, after all, my excuse to catch up with my bestie and force them to obsess over my obsessions too. Then I'll provide a, maybe not so short this episode, short and sassy summary of chapters 13 through 17. We'll give our brief, non-spoilery overall thoughts before diving into each chapter individually. Then we'll discuss our favorite quotes or moments and any predictions for the rest of the book. Finally, we've got a fun little section where we've each picked a song to dedicate to each chapter. Songs that we'll compile into a public playlist for you, our fellow book baddies. Got it? Good. Now let's dive in. Ooh, it's been a little bit since we last recorded.
That it has.
You might be able to tell that I was sick, and it's still carrying over in my voice a bit. So apologies, Book Baddie, if my raspier tones are offensive. I do not mean to be. But what are you into this week? Or even these past 2 weeks?
You may also notice that I have a new background. I have moved out of my apartment, where I'm in the process of moving out of my apartment and in with my boyfriend. So this is his office, which now has my setup in it as well. And you probably can't see his computer back there, but you might be able to see some of his Legos. He's a big Lego nerd. Mostly in this past week, my boyfriend and I have been watching the Young Indiana Jones series from like the 90s. Indiana Jones is one of his special interests. So we've been kind of binge watching that series and I'm really enjoying it, which I think surprises him because anytime he asks, like, what do you want to watch? I'm like, Indiana Jones. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I mean, I'm not going to say no if you're genuinely interested in it.
Don't hog the boy.
Don't hog the boy. Something else that is not necessarily something I'm into, but definitely relates to this podcast that I think is very funny is my boyfriend, Aaron, works with one of his best friends, and she recently started listening to the Fourth Wing audiobook at work on speakers, so he's like forced to listen to it. I'm like, yes! Then you'll understand the podcast.
When we inevitably force him to listen to the podcast.
Exactly. He'll know what's going on. He'll understand.
I love that.
Me too. I don't think he's quite as thrilled, but you know what?
We'll get there.
He's supportive. He's great.
I'm talking to Dan just without context when it comes to the book. And so eventually it's going to get to the point where, like, he's going to have read it before this show comes out. I'll tell you that much.
He better.
It's not negotiable.
Nope.
It's relationship ending.
Mm-hmm. Part of the relationship contract.
Yes. Before... I wrote it in before the book series even came out.
Yeah, exactly. What, 13 years ago?
Yeah, it'll be 13 years this October. I know.
Oh, gosh. No, you're not.
I have a joke one.
Yeah.
My obsession this week and the past 2 weeks has been Dayquil. Because I haven't had... That's all I've been taking while I've been sick. Not sponsored. Hey, Dayquil, if you want to hit us up, let me know. But outside of that, my obsession has been the graphic audio version of Fourth Wing because I'm so excited. So Rebecca Yarros announced at the time of this recording that there's going to be graphic novel adaptations, but they've been teasing on their stories on Instagram that they've been in LA with Amazon. And we know that Amazon bought the show. Mm-hmm. I believe through Michael B. Jordan's studio. with
Oh.
Amazon. There was like a joke going around for a long time that he was going to cast himself as Xaden
Oh.
in it.
I wouldn't be mad about it.
Me neither. He's a good looking man.
He's gorgeous.
I just feel like he might be a little old for
Yeah.
the role.
Yeah, because Xaden's supposed to be what, like
I think
early
23.
20s? Yeah.
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 Maybe he could pull it off. I don't know. But she's been teasing that she's been in LA. And so I've been thinking that we might get some show news soon. And because I'm desperate for it, I just have like dove into the graphic audio. And it's so good. The voice of Xaden. He does such a good job of being able to sound younger, but then still put like menace and like certain lines. He's really good at adding that like the growl, the snarl into his tone. It's so good. If you haven't, and if you are so inclined, I highly recommend the graphic audio for not just Fourth Wing, but Iron Flame as well. Onyx Storm hasn't come out yet, but you bet your ass I'm gonna be spending that money to get that as soon as it drops. So that's my two for the 2 weeks you've been gone.
Hell yeah.
Shall we dive into the not so short and sassy summary this week? When I timed myself doing this summary, it was like 5 minutes when I finally like finished it. So you've got some.
Okay.
Grab a drink, maybe a snack, and just listen to the dulcet sounds of my sick voice. Alrighty. October 1st is always threshing. With a follow your heart pep talk from the Professor of Dragonkind, our squad joins the 147 total cadets looking for their dragons. But with only 101 dragons, for now, willing to bond this year, the prospects seem slim. After a few hours, one climbed tree, and still not feeling connected to any of the dragons she's come across, Violet spots a flash of gold in a clearing to the north. Guess the little feathertail is still out here appeasing its curiosity. Oh well. As Violet returns back to solid ground, she overhears Jack fucking Barlow and his band of murderous friends boldly claiming their plans of killing little Goldie. Violet, Moral Compass, Sorengale silently races the trio of asshats to the clearing where, after a failed attempt at shooing off Goldie, Violet, injured ankle and all, is forced to take on 3 armed men with at least a combined 200 pounds on her. But she won't be alone. At least she'll have an audience for her death when Shadow Zaddy arrives with his ruthless and furious dragon, Sigale. Rules state that all Xaden can do is narrate, though, but no worries. Our girl Violet holds her own. After sending Jack fucking Coward Barlow, yes, that is his full name now, running and knocking Orin unconscious, squad mate Tynan is prepared to make a killing blow. Rules be damned, Xaden steps forward, but a gust of wind at Violet's back has Tynan scared shitless. Wait, it's the unbonded black dragon JFCB, Jack fucking Coward Barlow, kept drooling over in class. Tynan attempts to follow in JFCB's footsteps, but Grump Dad, as I like to affectionately call him, burns him to a crisp. The unbonded black dragon chooses Violet, and after some lovely grumpy banter, she climbs on his back and he takes off, and so does Violet, right off her dragon's back. But Tarn's not like other dragons, and catches Silver One, as he likes to affectionately call Violet. Throwing her on his back and putting on a show before landing in the center of the training fields, a short bumpy slide down Tarn's front leg, and one unexpected conversation with little Goldie later, Violet makes it to the roll keeper and proudly declares Tarn Nanak as her dragon, although her and my pronunciation could use some work. But don't forget Goldie, Endarna Yuram. Endarna for short. Looks like Grump Dad and little Andy are both choosing Violet, and all hell breaks loose. Leadership squabbles as Violet gets patched up in the little medical station set up on the field. Back with her dragons, plural, Violet is told to stay with the wing leader, not the squad leader, while the dragons hold a meeting of the Empyrean, and it only took us 16 chapters to get the series name. Our squad shares in a few heartfelt embraces and tallies their total before Dane interrupts, pulling Violet aside to give her shitty advice in the shadows. Turns out, Tarn and Sigale are the strongest mated pair in centuries, and Dane is terrified that Xaden manipulated Threshing to get at Violet. But, my guy, making accusations at your wing leader in the shadows is a surefire way to get his attention. Or did you forget that his signet ability is to command shadows? Ya idiot. Xaden reveals that while he didn't manipulate Threshing, Sigale's hatred for bullies had her calling in Tarn, and he chose Violet all on his own. Shaming and dismissing Dane done, Xaden informs Violet that there is now a capital U-S, us, and a wiggle, because Tarn's bonds are so powerful to both mate and rider that should Violet die, so will Tarn. and Sigale, and Xaden. Violet is tethered to Xaden Ryerson should the Empyrean let Terran's choice stand, which they do. Violet gets to keep both dragons. Violet receives a unique dragon relic on her back, and cue celebrating. Now that it's acceptable, suddenly Dane is happy for Violet, and he kisses her in front of the entire quadrant. Finally, everything Violet has ever wanted happens, but thank Amari, she doesn't want it anymore. The next morning, looks like everyone but Violet found someone to celebrate with after threshing. After some gentle ribbing from Rhiannon about Violet's very public kiss last night, Violet admits that though she had hoped it would be more, that there's nothing between her and Dane. Senior squad mates are now sitting in, talking to Violet and friends, with Imogen taking a special interest in Violet's training. Looks like she was ordered to by Xaden, who is now in the business of keeping his mortal enemy, to love her, alive. Later that evening, Violet gets stopped on her way to train with Imogen by Dane, who just wanted to tell her that kissing her last night was a mistake. Violet is immediately relieved, thinking they're on the same page, but nope, it's all about politics for him. Dane unknowingly loses major respect points, and Violet leaves Dane without looking back to begin training. All right, overall, non-spoiler thoughts. What'd you think of these chapters? This is the point where I fell in love with the series, or with the book.
Yeah, these have been my favorite chapters so far. I mean, it's hard, but up to this point, it's kind of hard not to be, because we finally meet the dragons, and it's so epic. And finally, Violet is basically over Dane. It's so good. So yeah, I'm really getting into it now. Like, give me more. I'm not gonna lie, you were sick and you needed the rest. But 2 weeks between recordings, it did hurt me this time. You know, it took a lot of self-control not to continue on.
It's difficult when this is like my 8th, 9th, 10th, I don't remember anymore at this point.
True.
Reread. But yeah, this is the point where like I feel like the found family aspects of this book really click into place. The core group are like established fully now, including the dragons, and so it's like, now we can run. It took us walking to this point to finally be able to get to now we can just, we're jogging, we're happy. We're good. Let's go. Let's get into chapter 13, shall we? So we start off with this scene. It's threshing morning before the cadets disperse. What did you think of Kaori's, knowing how ruthless and cutthroat this school is, for Kaori to be like, listen to your heart? I was just like, okay, dude, sure.
Yeah, I get it to some extent where it was sweet. Like, you should be feeling a connection. And if you feel the opposite of that, run for your goddamn life. So, you know what? Not terrible advice. Still pretty solid. But yeah, it does feel a bit sentimental in this environment, you know?
Kaori's also the professor, I believe, last time that was like, I see the way you tutor your friends and you're compassionate. And I've also schooled your siblings and you came out on top in that scenario. So I feel like he's the anomaly in this school. He's a little more in touch with his feelings.
Yes, I agree.
So Violet says, Dane tried to talk me into a brown. And Rhiannon's like, Dane lost his vote when he tried talking you into leaving.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Rhiannon was forced to listen to Dane beg her not to go on the gauntlet the day before because he's dropped back in line with them. So she got front row seats to hearing him be an asshole. And just Rhiannon being the best friend a friend could ever ask for and being the superstar. I'm not Rhiannon. I could only ever hope to be Rhiannon.
You're my Rhiannon.
Oh, you're my Rhiannon.
I love you.
We both get into weird voices.
Yeah.
But I love that she's just instantly like down to swing on anyone. Like on principle, but also because she heard that conversation. She's like, yeah, Dane can fuck right off.
Yeah, that was probably the highlight for me of this chapter. I just fucking loved it so much. Like, yeah, that's my girl. Well, it's not my favorite part of this chapter, but the early of this scene, there we go, of this scene is my favorite. And one of the like things I underlined. The other thing that I really loved in talking about the core group solidifying of Rhiannon and Violet telling each other, you know, like, be careful, and Riddick telling them, don't die. Like, that's my boy. I
literally wrote in my book, don't you die, Riddick.
Yeah, for real. I can't handle it. My heart, no. Not Riddick.
I will say, did you notice, so they're asking about the different dragons, and Rhiannon's like, have you figured out which one you're going to go for yet? And Violet's like, I just don't feel connected to any of them. But then when she asks Rhiannon, Rhiannon's like, I'm thinking about that green, the one closest to me when they got all up close and personal with you. That was the foreshadowing I pointed out the last time where Rhiannon gets caught with Cierra leaving a private room. And then Violet runs her fingers along a green dragon pillar immediately after like encountering Rhiannon.
Interesting.
And then Rhiannon's like, I think I want the green one.
I like that.
I was like, hey. Also, it foreshadowed the two dragons that came up to her and smelled her vest in that consecutive chapter. But I could be stretching that foreshadowing.
It's okay. You know what? Even if it's a reach, I enjoy it.
Thanks. I have a lot of them. The 2 weeks we had me going back through it. Took a tally of something that I noticed in these set of chapters specifically. Happened a lot. And let's just say I've got a drinking game for you book baddies at home. So,
woo!
should be a good time. That's for sure. But yeah, the found family aspect, one of my favorite tropes in any book. And I feel like it's so strong in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. It's a couple hours later, and it's while Violet's out. She encounters a red clubtail, she spots Goldie, and then she overhears the trio of idiots. Anything you would like to point out about this scene?
The things that really stuck out to me was when she first overhears the trio of idiots, she recognizes Jack's voice, and it says, no one else's voice has that physical effect on me, not even Zayden's. And I feel that so hard, of just like, when you fucking despise someone, even the sound of their voice is just like repulsive.
I feel like it's also a double whammy because it's like, this is your first sign. You don't feel like Zayden is as much of a threat to you as Jack Barlow. But it's this part of that comment goes completely over her head because he's still enemy number one.
Well, but even though it also can be read a different way, because she has admitted by this point that her body's having some weird physical effects when Zayden's around. And like, look at him, which also I understand.
Oh, so to that line that you said where no one else's voice has that physical effect on me, I literally wrote, because you subconsciously know he doesn't want to hurt you. You put that on him. And not only that, but people put that on Violet. Like, she went into the writer's quadrant being told that he wants to kill her. He's never come out flat and been like, you're next, or I'm coming after you, like Jack Barlow.
It's true.
It's been very implied on her part, and he's never denied it, but he's also never stated it either. I find it interesting. I love that. So, as they're walking and she hears the trio of idiots talking, Jack is just saying shit about Feathertails. No one knows anything about Feathertails, so I don't know where Jack is getting his information, but I don't have time to focus on his assumptions right now. For some reason, the Ravenclaw me was like, yes, I identify with this. It was very scribe brain of a moment for Violet, and for me it read funny, and maybe it's just the way I took it, but of all the things for her to like focus on, that was the one thing she's like, he's just spewing nonsense. Anyway.
Yeah, I liked that. It does make me wonder, like, where is he getting this information? Why does he think this? Does he somehow know something that like she doesn't? Or is he literally just making shit up? I have no fucking clue, but I want to know.
I find it interesting. So as she's reasoning with herself about whether or not to go save Andarna or find her own dragon, which I also found it funny. The entire time she's trying to follow her intuition. She's like, I should climb a tree to see my surroundings. Intuition and logic playing at the same time because Violet contains multitudes. So she climbs up the tree, sees the golden dragon's like, not my dragon. Proceeds to climb back down. Then as she's wrestling with the idea of going to help this golden dragon that's clearly not hers, she thinks it's better than option 2, where I'd be forced to take on 3 armed men with at least a combined 200 pounds on me. And I'm like, bitch, you just foreshadowed your own circumstances in this situation.
Yeah. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. This is something else I'm kind of hyper-vigilant of as I'm reading this time around. So we've read this section. We know she bonds both dragons. Trying to see where her intuition is calling, just to, I guess, reassert the different bonds that she has between the 2 different dragons. Because she initially is like, I don't feel connected to any of them. She doesn't believe she's connected to the golden dragon until she gets there. So it's after she gets to the dragon and she's whisper shouting from the trees, which just seems so funny to me. Like,
yeah.
Girlfriend, walk out there. You got this. But she's like, scourge them. And she's like, but the dragon doesn't. And somehow I'm certain in the marrow of my bones that it can't. Other than its teeth, it's defenseless against 3 trained warriors. I'm like, how do you know that? Is this in reference to you then bonding with the dragon? Like, is this the dragon calling to you? What is this? How do you know? Or are you just smart and you're like, you're tiny. There's no way you got anything going on.
True, because at this point she doesn't realize that Andarna doesn't have claws. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, it could just be it's smaller. And maybe it is also a little bit of her overhearing what Jack had said about how they refused to fight, kind of bleeding into her subconscious. But yeah, interesting.
But I do love the fact that she does go after the golden dragon, even if it maybe wasn't her thinking it was the golden dragon calling for her, because it shows her morals. She's willing to stand up for the little one. Granted, I think it's a lot of her also maybe identifying with the golden dragon. Specifically, directly after that, she's like, it's going to die just because it's smaller, weaker than the other dragons, just like me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can definitely see there, like, being a bond there.
it's sweet. Especially because in the previous chapter, I believe chapter 12, when they first spot it, and Tynan and Luca are like, you should bond it. I'm just like, little do you know. She do. Also, I find it funny. In chapter 12, Violet thinks about Tynan. I pity whatever dragon, if any, chooses him. Turns out, none do. And in fact, her dragon chooses to char him.
Like a tasty little barbecue.
A tasty little morsel.
Just a little snack. Wispy.
Burnt ends.
Delicious.
Also, a little bit of foreshadowing for this chapter. Tynan's like, someone should kill it before it bonds. In chapter 12, and I'm like, fucker, you're gonna try.
You know what? One of y'all is gonna die, and not the one you think it is. Bitch, get fucked. Crispy motherfucker.
Oh, also throughout this chapter, because Dane previously, when talking about, do you know what happens on threshing? We have to watch. I can't watch. Nah. Violet constantly says, I know the second and third year writers are scattered throughout this valley in order to observe, or something along those lines. And then it brings up again, there hasn't even been a hint that the senior writers are watching us. And I'm like, but they'll make themselves known, or at least one of them will. Speaking of, that leads into Xaden's entrance in this scene. Before he does, though, I will say, I was very surprised when she finally does step out in front of the golden dragon to defend it. She's like, you can't do this. And Jack's like, letting something so weak, so incapable of fighting, live is against our beliefs. And she responds with, you're gonna have to get through me then. I was like, okay, go off, bravado. I don't know where this came from, but I'm here for it.
See, my first thought was, honey, he's going to. He has a problem with that. And look, lo and behold. Yeah, Jack's response of, I don't really consider that a problem. I just went, yeah, I didn't think you would. Ooh.
But props to her, because she probably knew, like, this is gonna suck. I'm outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, outplanned.
Outlast. It's just something that gets stuck in my head because, you know, autism. It's one of those, like, brain ticks.
I'm surprised it didn't go the Hamilton route like I did.
My brain didn't go there. I don't know. Like, even now, like, I can't recall what you're referencing.
Outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned, outplanned part.
Oh.
I don't remember what song that's in.
I haven't listened to it enough, to be honest. It's not my favorite.
Fair. In the Heights.
Hot take. Oh, In the Heights forever.
But we also, like, grew up living in the Heights. So.
I know. Since high school.
Yeah.
Before anyone knew what In the Heights was. Thank you, musical theater nerds.
The time where I will just break out into a random In the Heights song.
Oh my gosh, the like lines from that musical that I will just randomly quote. 96,000. Damn. $96,000. Holla. I could do that entire song. It's a problem. Probably not as well as I used to, especially without prep, but I could do it.
No doubts. So Xaden shows up and we got a scalp prickle. So I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but prickly scalps, hairs rising on the back of your neck is something I'm keeping track of. So this is chapter 13. Up until now, it's happened 7 times so far in the book.
All in reference to Xaden. Nice.
And it'll happen a couple more times in this section. I'll try to point it out anytime I notice it. Alrighty. Chapter 14. Violet stands her ground. Badass. We'd love to see it.
I feel like at the end of this series, we need to both get together in person, dress up, look all cute, have our cocktails, and just gossip about the series.
Yes. I'm excited. Not gonna lie, though, when you said dress up, my brain first went, like, as characters from the series, not just, like, us get dressed up.
How do you know that's not what I meant?
Oh. I mean, the one brain cell.
Either way, I love playing dress up, whether we just fancy or characters. I could be a dragon.
But into chapter 14. So technically, I didn't notice this until reading chapter 16, that Violet constantly tilts her chin or raises her chin or lifts her chin, usually in defiance. It's when she's talking to Xaden, And I'm like, I do that too, but because I'm short. And then I realized Violet's the same height as me, so maybe she's also doing it because she's short and not just a confidence thing. But I then went through and tracked how many times she's done that. And before we even get to these chapters, she's done it 8 times already. And here at the beginning of chapter 14, she's thinking about Xaden being there. Then she realizes that he has to stay. And so it says, Violet rises in my throat, and I tilt my chin to quell the burning. So anytime chin tilting or rising or lifting happens, I say, hydrate, baddies.
Or do the opposite.
Drink up, chin watch 2025.
It might be my favorite part of the scene, but I kind of just want to say it anyway. And it's kind of 2 parts. When Jack says, she's destroyed my shoulder, and Violet responds with, that's the thing about having weak joints. You know exactly where to strike. It again speaks to having a disability or a chronic illness or chronic pain, especially EDS and things that involve having weak joints and weak muscles. Well, it hasn't like held her back. It has created a disadvantage for her against the other candidates up to this point. We can also see how it has become an advantage as well because she has learned from it. And I love that. I love that part.
Yeah, that was literally one of the ones I was going to say, but then I was like, oh, that's a favorite. Jack runs away and she calls him a fucking coward. I was like, couldn't have said it better. But then after that, so Xaden starts to narrate, but then the golden dragon snaps its jaw and Orin stumbles to the side with terror-filled eyes as if he's just now realized that it has teeth.
Yeah. There's still a fucking dragon, bud.
Yeah, were you not aware before deciding with your other idiots that
Honestly,
this is a good idea?
I can see it being like Jack talked them into it, and because they revere him in such a way, seemingly, they'll just go along with it without really thinking, yeah, this is a fucking dragon. It's not as weak as you think it is. Just because some asshole told you, like, oh, they don't like to fight.
I understand how cutthroat this college is, that you don't want your wing to be as strong as its weakest link. And so I understand that within your own species, but hey, these dragons, rules don't apply the same. I don't get it.
In what world do you think that killing one of their own is going to make them want to bond you and not just straight up kill you? Fucking idiots.
All of them, I think, are missing multiple brain cells.
Yeah, more
They don't
than
even
we
get to
are.
share the single one.
I know.
Like we do at least.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the other part of my favorite I will save until
Okay, me too.
the end. I have a feeling it's probably going to be the same as yours.
That's
okay.
Whoever says it first.
Probably you. Since I took the last one, you can go first, and we'll see if it's the same.
Okay. Works for me. Xaden's about to step in, but Taryn arrives. Just the sheer size of Taryn, she doesn't even come up to his ankle.
Yeah, like I was trying to visualize that, and I can't. It's too big. Too big.
Or like the scales, I think she was saying, was bigger
than
and
her hand.
thicker than her hand. I'm like,
That's a big boy.
Grump Dad. I love him.
Oh, I love Dragon Daddy.
He's so grumpy.
He is.
And it just instantly like endears him to me for some reason. And also knowing, I can't speak to this, but Violet having lost her dad, now having this like fatherly figure, even if it is a dragon in her head, must be wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I would feel. I don't think I would be upset if I had a curmudgeon living in my head. I am a curmudgeon, let's be honest.
It depends on just how much of my mind he's able to read. Like, does he get the intrusive thoughts too? Because I can't control those, and I'm so sorry.
But he might have funny quips to them.
Maybe. That's true.
It does say that he's read her memories when he supplicates for her later during flight. I think this is a different chapter, so I'll save it. But he does mention having seen her memories. So that's not quite the same as intrusive thought.
There are some memories I don't feel like sharing.
Right?
I don't think I could be a writer.
Just for the memory sharing?
Look, my brain is a scary place. Not just for those inside of it. I don't need people judging me.
We get another tilting my chin upward. Drink up, baddies. I love that Taryn calls her silver one.
Especially because, like, she called the little one Goldie, so you got silver and gold. And, oh! I love it.
The instant nickname, I'm like, oh.
Right, because he knows her name.
Yeah. Which part of me is like, Is it because Sigel has told you? Like, has Sigel ranted, like, Xaden can't quit thinking about this Violet chick, and it's so annoying. Like, just ranting to her mate about it. And then he's like, Violet, let's bond.
Hey, you want to be besties forever?
I wonder, because he's such a curmudgeon, I imagine he doesn't like Xaden for the years that they were bonded before this. And so I can imagine him, like, picking Violet just to fuck with Xaden. Just to be like, right? Like, who would be the worst person possible for me to bond to piss off Xaden? Found her. Little does he know it backfires. And just their banter back and forth in this is so good.
I love it. You're bleeding. Stop it.
Which mirrors something Xaden says to her when she makes it up the gauntlet. He's like, you're leaking.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
True.
And I'm just like,
leaking.
yeah. You find people who are similar to your parents. And so with him being Grump Dad, saying something similar to something Xaden has said, I'm like, it's all working together. It's all coming together. I literally wrote in that part where it says you're bleeding, stop it. I put, okay, Xaden. With quotes. The whole, your hands are bound too. Do you bleed often? I try not to.
Yes, I love it. I would like to point out that my prediction was correct.
Which one?
The fact that she was going to bond the black dragon that they talked about in Dragonkind. That's the one.
Did you think at all that she would bond the golden one?
I did. So I was like, okay, the black one. That's got to be it. But then when they went to presentation and they saw the gold one and they called out, like, it's a lot smaller than Violet. It was like, oh, okay, so maybe it is that one.
Did it ever cross your mind that
No,
it could
not
be both?
that it would be both. Not at all. So, I mean, I was like half right for both.
Yeah, fair.
So I'm going to count that. I'm going to count that as a win.
I definitely saw the foreshadowing when I first read it for Taryn. But then, yes, as you're saying too, when they showed the golden one, I was like, well, I like the golden one too, and it seems like they're similar. And so then by that point, I was completely thrown off. It could be anybody. Watch it be a red dragon. I don't know. At this point, she just threw us off with these two random ones.
It could have
be
been
something different. I have one that's a bit of a dig on you.
Bullying is my love language.
Okay, good. Taryn's like, one does not live a century without being well aware of the space one takes up. And I was like, not everyone. It would take Kaz at least 100 years to become spatially aware.
You're not wrong. My fucking mic. Like, what does that tell you? God. Point proven. Jesus.
I wasn't expecting it so immediately.
I know.
Not only is the grumpy banter fantastic in this, but just how much Taryn supplicates for Violet is just so beautiful. Taryn's not like other dragons. He's willing to...
He's making accommodations for her disability.
Mm-hmm. The fact that later on, when other dragons start muttering about it, he couldn't give two shits. He's like, this doesn't change anything between our bond, and I'm going to do it in front of them. I love him.
I love him.
He's perfect. He cannot change, and if anything happens to him, I swear, Rebecca, I will lose all faith.
I already lost one father, Rebecca. Don't do this to me.
Don't do it again. Oh no. I dare you to say Taryn's full name as well as his heritage.
Well, first of all, no, I can't do his heritage. I can do his first name.
Okay.
That's about it. Ternanok. Hold on, I can do better. Ternanok.
Eh.
You gotta
Add
get
that glottal.
Yeah. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to everyone.
That just brought back, I'm only just now recovering from being sick. I don't need to hear that again. Flashbacks already. Violet also, when she falls off Taryn, her reactions are the way I would too. It was just a lot of cussing.
No!
Yeah, it's so relatable.
Yep. Yup.
Alrighty, shall we move on then to chapter 15? This is after Violet falls. Every other dragon would have just let her. But he catches her, then he throws her into the air. She lands on him. And with how fragile she is, how does she not break her butt or any other part of her that landed on him?
That would break my fucking tailbone.
Right?
Okay? And I have bruised it before from roller skating.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. You witnessed it. It changed my life. I couldn't stand or lay down comfortably for 6 weeks. I had to get a special pillow.
A butt cushion.
I gotta get a butt cushion. Seriously, I don't think I could be a dragon rider.
I love this little bit where she thinks, was everyone's dragon a curmudgeon or just mine? And then her eyes widen and she's like, I have a dragon. And not just any dragon, I have Taryn the Knock. And it's just like, you go, girl, you did it. Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Also, it cracks me up. It took way too many rereads to realize that some dragon riders wear goggles. Because for whatever reason, my brain just like didn't cement. I'm imagining they've got awful sunglasses tans. Every single rider.
Yes. Oh, just windburn on the rest of their face other than right around their eyes.
What's their skincare regimen when they're flying? Especially if they have to fly for so long.
In the sun.
Yeah.
That close to the sun.
Are they moisturizing every 30 minutes? What are they doing?
Gotta make sure they put that sunblock on. Otherwise, they gotta have skin even more leathery than their fucking dragon's wings.
I wonder if the dragons don't put up some sort of like windshield or something, or if they're blocked from the wind. Like, because their necks are so large.
It just made me think, I don't know why, it made me think of that scene in How to Train Your Dragon 3 when Toothless meets his little girlfriend and he's trying to impress her with a mating dance. And he like puts his wings up, like kind of like a cape, like behind him, or like, I'm just picturing that.
So we know from Kaori's class that his previous and only rider before this died. So Violet's like, I didn't think I'd make it this far. And he sighs and he's like, I didn't think I would either. So we have that in common. And I just wrote, poor Taryn. Because we know later that he was called in by Sigale. I don't think he was even planning on bonding this year.
I don't know.
And so the fact that he saw Violet stand up for Andarna and was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to bond again after nearly dying from the loss of my previous rider. They need each other.
I love it.
It's very sweet.
There you go.
Okay, so then back to the we're going to have to put on a show part.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're speaking in their minds, the words are in italics. And then sometimes she'll think something and it will be like regular font, but then he'll still answer to that. I'm trying to pay more attention to italics this time around because sometimes it can get a little confusing. Mm-hmm. I love that he's like, you will not fall. I will not allow it.
Me too.
Then he magically bans her legs and hands. He's like, you will trust me. Everything he says is in order.
Mm-hmm. No room for argument. Just, you will do what I say.
He's like, I've chosen you. Yes, I will not lose you so soon. So they're flying to some sort of fields where everybody's at. And she has to know. She's like, why did you choose me? He answers just because you saved her, which I do think is fair. But then she disputes that because it's Violet and she doesn't believe any compliment ever. Same girl, same, but...
Yep.
She's like, but dragons value strength and cunning and ferocity in their riders. Taryn's like, please do tell me more about what I should value.
Yep, that was one of my favorite parts. One of my favorite lines for this chapter.
But specifically, I wanted to point this out now because once they get to the fight fields, he directly answers each of these questions. She brings up strength, cunning, and ferocity in his response. So she thinks to herself, how ironic. Taryn is the most celebrated dragon in the Vale, and I'm the most unlikely rider in the quadrant. He responds, you're the smartest of your year, the most cunning. So tick. That's the cunning question she had. Then he says, you defended the smallest with ferocity. That's the second thing that she had brought up. And strength of courage is more important than physical strength, since you apparently need to know before we land. That's the third thing that she was like, these are the 3 things dragons value. And he's like, you have all of these 3 things. This is just beautiful writing. She brought up specific points and he answered each of the specific points to help encourage her. And I just loved that.
I hadn't caught that, so I'm glad you pointed that out.
It took this time around reading to notice that.
That's okay. That's the fun of rereading.
It really is. It's my favorite. I'm a huge rereader, so I've been living for rereading this series. It's been fun. So they land, and Andarna follows. Andarna lands really close to Taryn, and then she's in between his legs. Like, he's very just protective of Andarna. And I just thought it was so cute.
Me too.
When he first responds with, you are the smartest of your year, she says, I gulp at the compliment, brushing it off. I wrote, me.
Yep. I feel that.
Did you listen to the audiobook at all for this?
Yeah, a couple times.
What do you think of the different voices she put on for, like, Taryn and for Andarna?
I enjoyed it. I like the dissonance, for lack of a better word, I guess, between how deep she goes for Taryn's voice and how contrast. There we go. Yeah, that works. But yeah, between how deep she goes for Taryn's voice and then how higher and almost childlike that she does for Andarna. So you got grandpa and then you have baby sister.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
I like it a lot.
I love that Taryn has to land dead center of the field. So she slides down his leg on her butt like he's a bumpy piece of lethal playground equipment. And he says, that's one way to do it. I feel like Rebecca Yarros specifically wrote these next few lines, almost indicating what the reader should feel, or at least I found when I was reading, I also aligned with these lines. So Violet thinks, I can't stop the smile on my face or the joy that stings my eyes at the sight of the other first years standing in front of their dragons. I'm alive and no longer a cadet. I'm a writer. Yeah. And then when she talks to the gold dragon who's tucked into Taryn, she says, I'm glad you made it. Glad isn't even the right word. Thrilled, relieved, grateful. The reader, as they're reading this, at least for me, tends to feel these things along with Violet in this moment. And so I thought it was really clever to have these lines written in here, because it's the author being like, see, she feels the same way you do in this scenario.
I think it's very funny how much Violet contradicts or essentially talks back to Taryn. And then on top of that, how she's talking to Andarna and she's like, didn't anyone tell you that you're not supposed to speak to humans who aren't your writer? Don't go getting yourself into trouble, Goldie. From what I hear, dragons are pretty strict about breaking that rule. Like, bitch, the fuck you think you know about dragons? Why are you so presumptuous? Right. Tiny little human. I think it's so funny. Like, you got some balls, girl.
Thoughts on Mama Sorengil being there for first time since chapter 1.
So when her mom is telling the role keeper, don't say his name, she has to say it. I can very much see how Violet is like, wow, she doesn't believe that I bonded this dragon. What a bitch. But I can also very much see it being like, I want to make very clear that this did happen, so I am not going to let anyone put any doubt that you bonded this dragon. I am not going to let them say his name first because I want them to know that you did this. I want it to be very clear. But, you know, she's cold.
And I don't fault Violet for being pissed off that it doesn't seem like her mom is concerned at all for her. Real bitchy move. But yeah, I agree. I think she's trying to not show favoritism with you in front of other people. And it's hard to see in that moment, especially when you crave attention from a parent who hasn't given you one and is known for being ice cold. But I do think Violet is maybe projecting a little bit of some insecurities. We've got another raised chin moment. When Violet comes up to the role keeper and she pridefully says, Ternanak. I lift my chin. Drink
Cheers.
Up, baddies. I needed that. 15, I thought this was a cool bit of foreshadowing before she goes up to the role keeper. But it says, the golden dragon up ahead, hovering as though it's waiting. Maybe it didn't choose a rider, but it will live to decide it again next year. And that's all that matters. I'm just like, no, she chose. And she chose you. All right. Now chapter 16. She's like, 2 dragons. I have 2 dragons. Like she has to...
I mean, having one, especially Taryn, would be fucking mind-blowing. And then this little gold one on top of it?
I find it interesting that when Jack fucking Coward Barlow runs away after one shot, he's found time to bond an orange scorpion tail before making it to the healers. I'm just like, of course you did, you fucker. And this whole entire time when he's like staring at Taryn, I was just like, oh, this part's gonna be so juicy.
Yes.
Rub it in his face.
Rub his nose in it.
The whole banter, one-word conversations, it always comes across as funny to me. I love that Rebecca Yarros' writing is very comical. And
yeah.
Maybe I'm putting a lot of emphasis on it when I read it, but it just bumps up the entertainment factor for me. I know some people can find funny writing to be off-putting, but I just think when done well, it enhances the experience.
Especially because she's not like trying too hard to make it comical. It's like little quips and comedic moments that doesn't take away from what is going on overall in the scene.
Well said, well said.
Like, it's not cringy.
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to feel cringed out, especially once I fall into the book. And at this point, we're not quite halfway, but I'm invested enough that I'm willing to believe more now. And so I feel like putting more possibly cringy lines now is safer than at the beginning of the book.
I get that, yeah.
I literally wrote so after their one-word conversation back and forth, it sinks in that Taryn bonded Violet. His eyes transform from shock to envy to fear, and I just wrote, delicious.
I love it. Especially because then he immediately goes into trying to save his ass, like, hey, I don't know what she told you, but I didn't do nothing. You really gonna try that? You really gonna pull that card?
Yeah.
idiot.
Like, way to sell yourself out. And that goes to show, too, Violet being like, everybody who is supposed to know knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Kaori, I love that he's like, nah, she didn't tell me anything. Do you want to? Like, Loki knows something happened out there that wasn't supposed to.
So, chapter 8, they're in Dragonkind class, and Jack will not shut up about Taryn. And he's like, how does one go about approaching that dragon? And he's like, you don't. He hasn't agreed to bond since his previous and only writer. But I reread that as you, specifically Jack, don't. Bit of a stretch on that one. So Violet's asking if any other writer has ever bonded two dragons before. And I love this little line where it says, nothing about who dragons choose is up to humans. We only like to maintain the illusion that we're in control. Something that tells me that they've just been waiting for the others to make it back before they meet. Violet's like, leadership? And he's like, no, the dragons. But the line that I pulled from this was, maintain the illusion. The person saying this, Kaori, is an illusionist. And so I thought that was kind of funny that he used that word. That's his signet power. Also, find it interesting that the illusionist is the one who's the least disillusioned in this war college.
Maybe because of that. He's seen so much.
To have the capability to see something and memorize it and then be able to project it, I think that'd be so cool.
I don't know, I get the feeling that Kaori knows more about what's really going on. And yeah, I think he has higher intel than they know, than's been established.
I can see that. Especially because he's at the war college more than he is out in the field. So, stands to reason. The dragons are gonna walk off to talk with the Empyrean about whether she gets to keep them. And Violet's just constantly like, oh, I don't want to choose. Don't make me choose. Like, I'd want to keep both of them too. I feel her in this. Like, you just found out not only you got the biggest, baddest dragon, but you got a second bonus dragon, and now you might not be able to keep either.
Bonus dragon. I love it.
Got a view of Coda, and anytime I see Coda, I just think of my little soccer ball of a dog.
Ooh, anytime they mention his name, yeah. When I was out working earlier, I saw a dog that reminded me so much of Coda. And it made my heart a little bit sad. Like, I missed that curmudgeonly old bastard. He bit me more than once. Right on my thumb.
Specifically that one thumb.
Yeah, this one, the bad one.
He's like, this one's bad. I bite it. I take care of it for you.
You need to get rid of this one.
Amputate it.
Now.
Num num.
I'll take care of the disposal, don't worry.
Extra treat for me today, thank you. So, as soon as all the dragons leave, all the first years run to the center where Violet is, and Rhiannon and Riddick and Sawyer all seeking each other out and making sure that they're okay, asking who they bonded. It was all just so sweet.
I think I had the most underlined parts in this chapter than I did in any other. Yeah, it's a juicy one. Yeah, I had like a moment of like foreshadowing as they're walking off, and Taryn orders her, stay close to the wing leader until we return. Like, okay, so he knows something about Zayden. There's a connection there. He's seeing something, or he knows something. I caught that.
I love that Violet tries to correct him in this too, like, surely he means squad leader. Why would he think that?
Right? Yeah. Why would he assume Dane? I mean, if he's in her mind and he's seen some of her memories and stuff, like, sorry. Obviously he knows that she has a closeness with Dane, that she has a connection with him. But yeah, I don't know. I picked up on that. I wouldn't have guessed that's what the connection was. But I'm like, he sees... Either he knows something. He either knows something about Zayden specifically, or he knows that Violet's got like a thing that she hasn't admitted. So there's something there.
It's also before she finds out about the mating bond between Sigale and Taryn. So the fact that you picked up on that,
Proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too.
Thank you.
So as they meet up, the first years in this squad, we find out that Trina didn't make it. We barely knew thee, but R.I.P. Trina.
Alas, dear York, I knew him. I need a skull. I only have a Lego one. It is large and skull-sized, though.
Accurate. Adult or child?
I don't know. It's a giant Lego head.
Okay.
With
fair.
a skull painted on it.
So Ree bonds a green dagger tail. I've heard it pronounced a couple of different ways. It's, I think, Fierge or Fierge. Fergie.
Fergie.
Love me long time.
Fergalicious. Fergalicious.
Riddick has a brown swordtail named Aotrum or Atrum. Sawyer's is the hardest one for me to pronounce. But he bonds a red swordtail named Sleeg, I think.
I don't remember. I need to listen to it again.
But that would suck to get to this point to be Trina. Bond a dragon just for you to fall directly off of it and not get picked up.
I did love, though, okay, right after they've all declared their dragons' names, Violet thinks, out of all of us, I'm happiest for him, Sawyer, for all he's had to endure to get here. And I'm like, me too. I'm so glad he made it. If he had fucking died, I would have been devastated.
Yeah.
But it also would have broken my heart if he just didn't bond again and had to go through everything a third time. Like, ugh. So yeah, I'm so happy that he got his dragon.
And then he got him's rocks off.
Yeah, he did. Lucky boy.
With Rhiannon of all people, who there's a lot of foreshadowing of just them both being very
horny for each other.
Not even necessarily that, because I think, I mean, it's the writer's quadrant. They all fuck like bunnies. And we know that Rhiannon's kind of had a thing for Cierra. But the way they're written, it's like we're meant to associate them together a lot. I think that's leading up to the moment after threshing. And they celebrate, to put it.
Because that's what the kids are calling it these days.
Celebrating.
Okay, so first of all, fuck you, Dane. Jesus. Okay, so
to breathe through it.
Yes. Violet's reassuring him, like, I'm fine. She says, I assure him, but that doesn't quell the worry in his eyes. I'm not sure anything ever will. Yeah, because he doesn't believe in you. He has no faith in you. I want to fucking hit him in the face. Fucking Dane.
I hate that he instantly is like, you have to choose Andarna. It's Andarna. It can't be Taryn. I feel so bad because Violet also assumes my mom's using him as a proxy. Maybe she wants to talk to me. And then it's like, nope, it's just Dane being Dane.
Yep.
And he pulls her into the shadows.
I called that out as well. Like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Which of you is stupid? Are you both stupid? Because assumedly you both know. But you're all just going to have a secret conversation in the middle of, yeah, sure. Okay. Dumbasses.
I loved the line where she's like, I'm not choosing. And in her mental dialogue, she's like, and who the hell is Dane to tell me that? I was like, tell him off.
And also, again, how the fuck does he know? Why does he think, where is he getting so much confidence that he has any idea of what is about to happen here when this is completely unprecedented? Even the leadership doesn't really know what the fuck is going on or what is going to happen. But Dane does. Okay, Dane. Shut the fuck up, Dane. Go
honestly,
fuck yourself.
I think a lot of it is he knows that Taryn and Sigala are mated. So he knows that means that then Xaden and Violet, their future is set, essentially.
That's true.
They'll always be in each other's lives. And he's like, you have to pick the other one because you can't be tied to Xaden. And to that knowing that they all think he's going to kill her, that part I understand. But he doesn't try to assuage any of the feelings she has. Like, oh, is it because I'm not good enough? Is it because Taryn's too much of a dragon for me? I don't think he comes across the way he thinks he does in all of this, and it drives me crazy.
Like one of the other lines that really just made me want to fucking punch him. He's like, then you have to choose Andarna. He nods as if his decree equals a decision made. I want to hit this man, this fictional paper man. I want to whack him in the face with this book. Right in the fucking nose. That's all I have to say.
The part that I underlined here, her reaction to him saying that the gold one is the safest choice. It says, my mouth opens, then shuts like a fish out of water as I search for any reply that isn't fuck off. I literally wrote, I wish you would say it out loud.
I know. That was my favorite line for this chapter.
Was it?
Like, yep. I just fucking loved it. Like, yes, fucking tell him off. He needs it.
He just needs a big reality slap, I think. He's so focused on the politics of moving up in the ranks. I feel like he's just completely lost sight of anything that may have been important to him prior joining the Writer's Quadrant, and it's upsetting. I hate, a little bit before this, the whole, you trust me. You have to trust me. You do trust me, right? Fucking gaslighting. Here he also goes getting all touchy-feely with her again. So he grips her shoulders. Then he drops some knowledge about Xaden and the mated pairs between their dragons. And then it hits Violet, like, that's an issue, maybe? So she drops that Xaden was there. She then tells him how the entire interaction goes. He says, don't you see what happened? What Xaden's done? It says his grip tightens. Thank gods for the dragon scale armor, or I might have bruises tomorrow. He's holding her that tight. Keep in mind that they're in shadows, so Xaden's probably listening in on this entire conversation. It's not until he notices that he's physically hurting her that he steps in.
Mm-hmm.
This also calls back to when he's giving her advice for the gauntlet, and he says the right way isn't always the only way. Something along those lines. Her cheek is bashed up from the gauntlet attempt, and when he displays his shadow powers, she feels shadows caressing the injured cheek. Anytime she's injured, he becomes kind of protective, even though he still hates her right now. I just love little things like that. Signs of early, maybe Xaden doesn't completely hate you if he's gonna step in when this is happening. Then he accuses Xaden of manipulating Threshing, and he tries to put Violet behind him, like he did when Rhiannon spooked him coming out of that random private room with Tara. Dane is always trying to protect by stepping in front of Violet. I'm just like, asshole, she's a writer. You don't need to step in front of her. Maybe be supportive.
For once in your life, Jesus.
It takes for them to have bonded, mated, paired dragons for Violet to finally realize Xaden's not going to kill me.
Uh-huh.
I was like, it took you this long? Almost 200 pages in.
Also, I want to call out again the like body reaction she has to him, where she very blatantly thinks, I hate the reaction of my body to the sight of him, but I can't deny it. His appeal is so fucking inconvenient. Like, yeah, girl, you down bad.
And I'm here for it. Give me all of it.
I feel it.
Also, you taking a drink reminds me there's another I raise my chin. So Xaden steps in and he's talking about, he turns that stare on Violet and she's like, and I would do it again. I raise my chin. Mm-hmm. Drink up, baddies.
Oh, and the fact that he is so just passionately upset that he just roars, well the fuck aware. Yes.
I love
I
that line.
The passion.
And I don't know why well the fuck aware is one of those lines that I'm just like, yes, I need more of this in this book. But this is the moment, this specific I raise my chin is when I was like, me too, because I'm short. And then it started the whole me looking back for any time she does this.
Valid.
So Xaden explains that Sigale is not a fan of bullies. He then goes on to say, unfortunately, Taryn chose you all on his own. And I was like, more like, fortunately, am I right?
You're projecting.
Yeah. I love, too, that Xaden gets up in Dane's face and Dane has to lift his chin to, like, look up at Xaden. What did you think about this whole Xaden asking Dane if he would break the rules for Violet?
He's a little bitch, first of all. Fuck him. Not surprised at all. Still, fuck him. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about that.
So, out of curiosity, knowing that Xaden is Dane's superior, do you feel like it was a little manipulative to have asked him? Because the two thought processes that I would think Dane would have in this situation are, do I, in this case, tell the truth and be like, no, I wouldn't break the rules because I personally wouldn't do it and break my best friend's heart? Or do I lie for my best friend in front of my supervisor who can then punish me for
I thought about that
possibly
too.
breaking the rules?
Well, maybe there is the chance that he's just saying that because he doesn't want to get in trouble, and Xaden clearly doesn't like him and would do that. But it's Dane, so I think he absolutely was being honest. And when he later tells Violet, no, I was just saying that, I think that's bullshit.
Well, and even then, if that were the case, if those were his two thought processes, he chose to save his ass instead of... Either way, it's a lose-lose
Because he's
situation.
the only person he thinks about, and his wants and his needs and how he would feel if anything happened to Violet. Fuck Dane! I hear his name, it just immediately my brain goes, fuck Dane.
This is a bit of a favorite line. I'm bringing it up now anyway. He essentially dismisses Dane, I believe. And as they're walking and they're having the us conversation without it being romantic. Yet, she thinks, I'm tethered to Xaden Ryerson. And I wrote, cute wiggling. Forced proximity trope. It's here.
Love it. After he has dismissed Dane and she's asking him, why the hell would you do that? He's like, because you have too much faith in him. First of all, hell yeah, she does. Thank you for calling that out. Thank you for being on my side, because fuck Dane.
On my side specifically.
Mine specifically. We stan the Dane haters. But then he also says, and knowing who to trust is the only thing that will keep you alive. keep us alive. And okay, I know it's because they're bonded because of the mating pairing, whatever, but also it's like he wants to keep her alive.
I love in books the trope of fated mates, and I love that it's the dragons in this case. It's unique that the dragons have it in this series. I wouldn't be opposed to it showing up later in the series for humans as well. But I love that twist on a trope that I love.
Yeah.
And that it forces their humans then to have to deal with each other. I did write, haha, when they're talking about the unbonded and that Orin ends up being in line with them. And I'm just like, sucks to suck, asshole.
Bitch.
I was kind of like, aw, when I saw that he made it out. I was like, maybe he would just be unconscious and then they wouldn't remember to find him and then he'd stay out there and not come back. Wishful thinking.
I was hoping he'd get chomped too.
But then they start talking about how now Violet essentially is target number one. So Violet realizes, oh, the bond is why Taryn told me to stay with you. She's like, and Taryn thinks you'll play bodyguard. I find this funny because in a previous chapter back when Dane pulls Violet into the rotunda, he essentially says, let me see if I can get one of the second years or something to stand guard when you're in battle brief. And she's like, do you really think he's going to try to execute me or get rid of me in history class? And just saying, there's a bit of a parallel. Dane was going to put a bodyguard on Violet. Taryn thinks Xaden will bodyguard Violet.
Good observation. Everyone trying to protect her.
Imagine being wanted that much.
Yeah.
Like, Steph's, everybody just be like, must protect baby. Here, it was in chapter 4, page 64. He says, I'll see if one of the second years can stand guard. And I'm just like, okay, I can see why Dane would be, if we're doing the comparison of like, you find people who are similar to parents, that in this situation, Dane is similar to Taryn.
Yeah. That's a good...
He just ends up not being right.
So a little bit down from that, Xaden says, you're freakishly calm for someone who just heard she's about to be hunted. And she's like, that's a typical Wednesday for me. I'm like, yes, Baddie. She's like, I'm used to this by now.
But he like looks her up and down when he says it. And I'm just like, I'd be having reactions too when Xaden's putting Dane in his place, essentially. And he's like, would you break the rules? And Violet remembers that Xaden took a step. Rules be damned. He was going to do something. It just so happens that Taryn made it there first. And I love that this gets brought back up. Xaden would do it, but Dane wouldn't. And I'm just like, point in the Xaden column, thank you. Dragons land. And we find out that she gets to keep both dragons.
Woo!
I love how Violet instantly is like, tell me it's going to be all right. Instantly needing that validation from her dragons. I'm like, oh, their bonds are going to be strong. With a K. Taryn says, it is how it should be. I'm like, that's not helpful, but thanks.
Oh, I found it comforting.
I mean, it is, but also it's not an answer. It's just
True.
It's how it should be. Like,
That's true.
You are a dragon, a few words. So then we have another scalp prickle after Melgren makes the announcement. He also calls Violet that Sorengale girl. Asshole. So she glances over at Xaden and he's just like, holds up one finger. Target number 1. Is that threatening or is that a challenge? What is this? Are you gonna say I'm your number 1 girl? What do you mean? What's number 1? I'd be so stupid in this book. I wouldn't even be a challenge. Xaden would be like, you're coming on a little too strong. And I'm like, but you like it. He'd be like, no. Then she gets her badass dragon relic. And it's unique because it shows 2 dragons where everybody else's usually shows 1.
Yeah.
I desperately want this tattooed on my back, but I'm waiting till the series is over because who knows? I have thought I loved series that later books proved me wrong before. So I'm waiting.
Understand.
But I think it'd be a sick tattoo.
I was just gonna say, after that, they all rush in and Dane's celebrating now, because fuck Dane, because now he's super happy and excited for her for, okay, fuck off. Anyway.
Just because suddenly it's okay now. Like, it's been ruled okay, so he's like, okay, I'll side with it because the rules say.
Yeah. Yep. And then he cups her fucking face again. And I was like, bitch, what you trying to do? I'm suspicious.
Well, there's that whole point where after he is dismissed, where Xaden and Violet are talking. So it's just like, are you trying to see what they talked about when you were gone? Also, this kiss irritates the ever-loving crap out of me because it feels like the intentions aren't genuine.
Absolutely. It feels so hollow.
It's like, I'd do anything for you. And she's like, except break the rules. in her brain. And then
Yeah.
he's searching her face. I'm about to kiss you. Is this cool? And she's not anywhere on the same page with him because so much has happened now. And then when he pulls away and he's still smiling, and I'm just like,
He's so oblivious.
do you not see she didn't enjoy that? Like, her inner monologue makes it sound like it'd be very difficult for her to keep a straight face afterwards. And then when we get into the next chapter and she wakes up alone in her room, it's just like, so I want to know how that situation, like, how did they part ways after that kiss?
Yeah. How awkward was it?
Yeah. Did she just be like, gotta go, and just ducked out as quick as possible?
I could definitely see Dane being the one to just awkwardly run off or freak out. Oh my god, what did I just do? And I broke the rules in front of everybody. I'm gonna go hide my face in shame. I could
And
see
that's
that.
the other thing, is having gone through this threshing process once before, he knows how exciting and important this is. I don't know if you could hear my stomach.
I did.
It is
I, in fact, did.
Sorry. I'm hungry.
I'm not gonna lie, for a split second, I thought it was Aaron pulling into the driveway.
You're not you when you're hungry. But he essentially takes this huge moment for her and he turns it to be about him in this moment, and that infuriates me.
Fucking bitch. Son of a bitch.
I think it'd be funny to have a little like Dane hate compilation at the end of all your little.
There'd be so many. Fuck you, Dane.
But it'd be worth it. Should we get into the last chapter? 17. So we catch Sawyer walking out of Rhiannon's room. And because he's described as tall and lean, and I don't think they've described what color his hair is yet, but I always kind of
just like a blonde.
or like a strawberry blonde, like almost reddish blonde. I know he's very pale because his nose starts to like burn when he's outside for too long before the gauntlet, I think. So I imagine very fair. And
Maybe he's a ginger.
he blushes as soon as he gets caught.
He's so cute.
It's
He's
so
such a
cute.
sweetheart. I adore him.
You know, I mean, he's a writer, so he probably fucks. But I feel like Rhiannon just probably rocked his world. There's no way she did not, like, take control in that situation.
Oh, we know who the top is in that situation.
The fact that he just, like, I don't know, I think because he comes out flushed too, that I'm just like, oh, he had a life-changing moment. It's cute. The whole moment too where like Violet is able to say out loud that there's nothing between her and Dane. I was like, thank you for acknowledging it out loud. As someone who reads fairly frequently, it's one thing to like waffle in your mind because I feel like that's a pretty normal thing to do. But when people start waffling with their feelings are that they're not straightforward out loud to trusted people is when I sometimes get annoyed with characters in books. Because I'm like, if not to them and you're clearly waffling in your brain, are you that much in denial? And I love that her speaking it out loud. True. I love that her speaking it out loud is like, no, I've made up my mind on this one. I'm not interested in that. It feels like,
And I made up my mind.
I ain't wasting no more time.
Here I go again.
Oh no. I just appreciated that moment. Liam also walks out of the hall with his arm around a girl. The line, looks like everybody was celebrating last night except me. I'm like, I mean, you could have been.
Honestly.
I feel like she's the only writer who isn't.
She probably is. What a little nerd.
But I love her.
Oh yeah, that's why I love her. She's a little nerd.
She's like, I haven't found anyone I want to celebrate with. I'm like,
Okay, sure, we believe that. Who are you trying to convince?
right? That line though, for it looks like everyone was celebrating last night except me, I literally wrote in my book, womp womp.
Oh. Womp womp. You didn't get no womp womp.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Riddick comes out and puts his arms around both of them.
My boy.
I wish Sawyer would have walked with them, but I think he was too embarrassed after last night. He's like, I need to compose myself before I'm seen in public again.
Like, I just get golden retriever vibes from
Yeah.
Sawyer, and I love it.
Very much so. Riddick's one of those people, like, there's a line later that I would need to bring up at the flight field with Riddick that He's like the class clown. And because of their dynamic, like, this is months into knowing them. And while he is very touchy-feely, and I'm not necessarily a touchy-feely person with people I don't know, or if I'm meeting for the first time, I would let Riddick put his arms around my shoulders if he came up behind us randomly and was just like, hey, ladies, or should I say riders?
That was one of my favorite lines, too. Just like, hey, because it's Riddick, and I don't know. It was just very endearing. Like, oh, we're writers, you know?
But, like, the touchy-feeliness of it, too, I was just like, I'm okay with this. And I'm usually not okay with that with people that I don't trust, and I don't trust easy. So it makes sense for this situation. Hi, Bubba. There's a cat here. He might jump up. Maybe. You gonna make an appearance for the first time?
I love you.
Here. Can I pick you up?
It's me, the boy.
Help Mama out.
Nah, you want it too much. Now he doesn't want to.
We'll climb the mountain. I've got
Here
a Bubba.
comes the boy. Oh, you're pretty.
Not on the microphone. Thank you.
Hello, him.
Oh. Did you hear him go? That's so loud. So I was tracking patches, and they talk about how she should have... Sir. Thank you. How she should have studied up on the patches, but then that she learns that they change every year, and I was like, damn it, why am I tracking patches then? If they change every year.
Oh, no.
Now I'm just positive that patches within the quadrant are just incentive. They're like gold stars for every good thing you do. It's just for them to brag. It's another form of like how the gauntlet was timed and the timing of the gauntlet was to weed out people. This is incentive to get people to be more cutthroat, essentially. I'm like, you get a gold star patch and you get a gold star patch.
It reminds me of the Girl Scouts.
Yeah, kind of.
It was being a Girl Scout. It was fun.
So we see that Oren, now that they're like at the line for breakfast, is stuck serving since he didn't bond. And I love that because she was poisoning people, she's like, I can't take any food from him. And Ree is like, you can't just survive on fruit, Vi. But Violet says, it's the only food I can be sure isn't tampered with, especially with Oren behind the counter. And then she busies herself with peeling an orange. And I feel like this is just foreshadowing that you would mention, it's the only food I can be sure isn't tampered with. Like, are you going to poison more people? Do tell. We'll find out.
Interesting.
But everybody in the squad sits with her now. So, like, Heaton and Emery and Imogen and Quinn, which they go on about Quinn's patches, and why are you telling me about more patches if they're just gold stars? Do I need to track these two? The bane of my existence are these patches. I need to record everything in this book that happens. Ooh, the Iron Squad patch. I love the name. I think it's the squad that has stayed the most intact since Parapet, which they went from 9 down to 4, so that's saying something. But being able to call themselves the Iron Squad, I was okay. Sick.
Interrupt super quick.
So her squad sits with her. The whole dynamic of like, you weren't interesting enough to sit with before cracks me up. It's giving Mean Girls in the cafeteria.
Yes, it do. Oh, I love it.
It's so good.
I'm liking Imogen more.
I figured
Maybe
you
I
would
shouldn't,
eventually.
but maybe I shouldn't.
Nah. She's got pink hair.
She have pink hair.
She's a badass. She might be a bit bitchy, but I mean...
I love a bitch.
Me too. Why do you think I'm friends with you?
I was just gonna say, that's why I love you. Goddamn brain cell.
We are the same person.
Same brain.
We learned that Quinn has a girlfriend, and she usually sits with her in claw section.
Lesbians.
That's beans.
Lesbians.
We learned that Emery is an air manipulator.
And I just can't help but think of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And like,
Yeah.
oh, she's an airbender.
Fair. Imogen takes interest in Violet's training, and I find it interesting that Imogen's like, since now, but it's the lightning fast glance toward the dais at the end of the hall that gives her away. And I was like, just imagining her being like, since now? like being defensive.
Don't ask questions. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
But we get another prickle, a tingle, a spidey, a zadie tingle. I don't know. And I loved this line before the end of the scene where it's like, Xaden Ryerson is now in the business of keeping his mortal enemy alive. I'm like, mortal enemy? Okay, you're
Like,
being
girl,
dramatic.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Very
it just made me-
self-important, first of all. My God.
Violet's got a little bit of main character energy, but it tracks. So
It does. Look what all she's accomplished thus far.
fair.
I mean, it makes sense if she's getting a little bit of an ego.
A little bit. She's like, I got 2 dragons. Everybody else can fuck right off. Where are we? Flight field. And Taryn is making every maneuver Kaori does harder. Thoughts?
It feels like he's showing off a little bit, you know? Like, he's the big bad daddy dragon that, you know, commands respect, okay? He's, like, right behind Coda as far as, like, power and shit. So I can definitely be, I have to live up to that and, you know, make sure I stand out so, like, everybody knows why. And the fact that he's like, I'm going easy, and, like, I'm only going second because your instructor is what's-his-face's writer, like...
Yeah, his dragon's name is something I find very difficult. I think I've heard it pronounced 2 different ways between the graphic audio and the audiobook. This is the part with Riddick that I love during this scene, because Kaori does some lesser magics to amplify his voice. Yeah. And Violet thinks, God help us when Riddick figures out how to do that. I bite back a smile, knowing he'll find some way to annoy the shit out of every writer in the quadrant, not just his squad.
That was my favorite part of this chapter. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And I hope we get to see it. I need it in my life.
Yes, same. I also love that dragons don't believe in the humans' lesser puny gods.
Puny gods.
Puny god. And yeah, I'm sorry, I could not help but think of the Hulk in the Avengers throwing Loki around.
I understand Violet being like, how am I going to be a rider if I can't keep on my dragon myself? But when he's like, it's just a minuscule amount of my power, I'm just like, this is where Violet and I would differ. And maybe it's because I'm lazy, but I'd be like, if it doesn't take much of your power, then...
It'd be the same way.
Okay, sure.
Like, good for you, Vi, but no, I'd be like, yeah, please hold on to me for dear life. Like, I will die.
Exactly. I love the writing, though, too, for the scene, because they argue back and forth a bit about it. And so then he finally is like, okay, have it your way. And it's written, thank you. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so good. And it's written in such a way that I can see it, and it's easy to read, but it's a made-up word. It's like a stretch of a word. Just another example of Rebecca Yarros' great writing. I also like, so he roars when she falls. And she's like, what the hell does that mean? And he's like, the closest translation for humans is probably, for fuck's sake. Now, are you going to stay in your seat this time?
That was my other favorite line in this chapter.
Stubborn silver human.
Yes, I love it.
And again, I wrote broken butt when she lands back on him.
Yeah,
again. Like,
I wouldn't have a tailbone left. It would be a nubbin.
A nubbin.
I mean, your tailbone is kind of already a nubbin, but you know what I mean.
There'd be no bone structure left.
Yeah.
It would still be floating broken bones in there. She wouldn't be able
Just
to sit.
shards.
So it's later that evening. Violet's butt has taken a beating of 7 lifetimes. And now she's off to train with Imogen. Girl must be so sore already and the day's not even over.
And you know Imogen's not going to take it easy on her.
And Dane stops her. Love this interaction though, because Taryn is also there.
Always.
He talks about how he's making everything difficult in flight training, and Taryn interjects, for your own good. She's like, are you always around? He's like, yes, get used to it. So she thinks, but not at him. I fight the urge to growl at the intrusive, overbearing, still here. So then Dane's like, tell him to go easy on you. Taryn's like, tell him to mind his own business. I'm like, yes. Taryn is grumpy and I'm here for it. And I appreciate that he's sassy to Dane.
I appreciate, like, is Taryn also in the fuck you Dane club? Because I love it. Please, come on. Join me. Join me, sir.
Join the cult.
The cult that hates Dane.
Mm-hmm.
Dane.
So he palms her face gently before his eyes drop to her lips. But then he brings up, so about last night. Like, why do you look like you want to kiss her again just for you to tell her that you can't be together? Mixed signals, my guy.
Not that it matters at this point anyway, because she don't like you anymore.
Which I can't imagine being so oblivious that, like, you don't immediately recognize that the person you just sucked face with wasn't interested in it. Like, you're so far into Lululand that you're like, that was great. She loved it.
Boy, is Delulu.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that would explain that he's just not good at reading other people, which is funny because his signet is that he's a memory reader.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why, because he can't read fucking social cues.
That's why he needed the signet.
Exactly. It's like, his dragon's just like, look, hey, you know what? You're going to be useless. Let's give you this.
So his reasoning, when our wires somehow crossed, it's like, I'm saying the same thing you are. It's incredibly frowned upon to have a physical relationship with anyone in our chain of command. And I wrote hypocrite. But at the same time, I'm realizing now that Amber Mavis was wing leader of third wing. And he was second wing last year, so they weren't technically in the same chain of command. But she is still a like higher ranking cadet than he is. So either way, still feels kind of hypocritical. The line, this is all about politics for him, hurt so bad. I was like, he doesn't deserve you anyway. Then he starts to get hope in his eyes. Like, maybe next year if you're in a different wing.
Boy, you crazy.
So far, gone up his own butt. He can't see, like, you could have just been like, let's just stay friends and left it at that, but you keep digging bigger grave.
Putting foot in mouth.
I love the beginning of this scene where it says, I toss Dane a quick smile and walk away, refusing to look over my shoulder to see if he's still there. I'm like, good, he does not deserve even that. So then she walks into a secret weight room, which they apparently have a weight room here at Basgaiath that she didn't know was there. And it's not just Imogen. Garrick is there with another first year Tyr, so somebody from Tyrandor that she saw in the woods that night. And I'm like, oh, they're keeping up with training of the first years from that scene. That's so cute.
Yeah, I like it.
And I love Garrick.
See, they got their own little family too. That's so sweet.
I love that Garrick is also just, even in that scene prior, like she looks at Xaden and Garrick's the first one to notice. And that's what cues her like, oh, he knows, meaning everyone in Xaden's circle knows that our fates are tied now.
Yep.
And then he like gives her a little nod. Just, Garrick is one of my favorites and we don't get enough of him. I like
him too. Yeah, I'm enjoying him.
So the only real thing I had here was, besides Violet getting jealous for seemingly no reason, like she's reading way too much into Imogen's reaction to bringing up Xaden. And Imogen is like, 30 reps, let's go. And I'm like, 30 reps?
My God.
Like, start off with maybe 10 and then work your way up. Especially if you think she's got weak in her thighs. Like,
yeah. Also, I will say that like this specific like machine that she's using when I used to go to the gym is like my favorite thing to do. And again, I like having strong thighs.
That's also the machine like where you would crush watermelons.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to be able to crush a man's head between my thighs.
Why a man's head specifically?
Or a woman or a person of non-discriminatory gender.
I was just curious. I mean,
or a watermelon. You know what? It makes it a whole lot easier than cutting.
True. Did you ever see the watermelon challenge where people were doing that online?
No.
Oh. I'll see if I can find one and send it to you.
Interesting.
There's this one cosplayer I found through Book Talk for dressing up as Tamlin from Akatar. He did the watermelon, like, squeezing them open with his thighs.
Ooh.
So let's try to do a quick favorite moments, quotes, and predictions segment when they're like, you can't interfere. And Xaden's like, no, but I can narrate. And
That's a
then
good one.
The one that I think is our shared one is when Violet's like, I'm used to functioning in pain, asshole. Are you? I know exactly where I sliced into you. If you don't get to a healer soon, you'll bleed out internally. But I love that, like, to show him that she can, she demonstrates by lifting up her ruined shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you're such a badass.
And with, like, the blood dripping down it as well. Like, oh, that's so hardcore.
Kind of sucks that bites her in the butt then when she tries to throw the dagger.
I
Then
know,
it slips,
and then you kind of look a little bit silly.
but it was cool in the moment.
But yeah, that was definitely my other favorite one.
Yeah. My arm is shot. My leg is shot. But at least I made Jack Barlow run away before I died. As a last thought, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a last thought, but...
It would have been a good one.
Yeah, agreed. Taryn pulls the, "You're bleeding, stop it." She's like, "It's not that simple when you've been run through with a, you know what?" That's a great idea. And then when she finally ties it off, she's like, "There, better?" He's like, "It will do. Your hands are bound too. Do you bleed often?" Like, yeah. I try not to. And I just kind of read it like, damn, you're reading me to filth already.
Yes.
24, it's a more Taryn banter. And he's like, "You are a writer, are you not?" She's like, "That seems up for debate at the moment." Mm-hmm. It's so good.
Fancy.
I love their
I love
sounds.
their banter, their back and forth is really great. I don't have like a specific line because there are so many good ones. It's just like my favorite part of this chapter is the curmudgeonly old dragon that this he's such a grumpy old man and I love it. And he's just got so many good lines. And yeah, just again, her thinking she knows about dragons and can like, is trying to basically dragonsplain to this dragon. Like,
I love when he first catches her in chapter 15. He's like, "You're making us look bad. Stop it."
yeah, that was one of my favorite lines.
Or when he's like, "Now get in the sea and actually hold on this time, or no one is going to believe that I've actually chosen you." Yes. I still can't believe you've chosen me.
Yes, so sassy.
I freaking adore this line. And I think you know which one it is because I sent you that video of Michael Eoch, I think, saying it as Taryn. Mm-hmm. But on page 177, he's like, "I know exactly who and what you are, Violet Sorrengale." And I was like, you just met her and bonded her and you see her already. That's so sweet.
Love it. I love it. Oh yeah, one of my other favorite lines was everyone says dragon a curmudgeon or just mine?
Yeah. So good.
I think it might just be you, girl. At least to that extent.
Yeah. I also love, so she realizes that he's speaking in her mind. And he says, "See, smartest of your year." She thinks, "So much for privacy." He's like, "You'll never be alone again." She's like, "That sounds more like a threat than a comfort."
I don't want nobody in my head all the time.
See, I would. They don't have phones to twiddle away on when they're on the toilet. Like, they can just talk to their dragons. They'd be endlessly entertained.
I suppose that's a benefit. Not what I would have thought of.
My first thought is I'm never alone. So when I have crazy thoughts or theories about anything, I could just be like, "So what do you think about this?"
See, my first thought is I have a dirty, foul mind. And
you'd be like, "So when you have sex, how does it work?"
No, I would just feel so much judgment from all the like. I can't even say. My dragon would judge the shit out of me.
But like in a loving way.
I hope so.
Because if they choose you, they know what.
That's true. They already know what freaky bitch. This is why I wouldn't be chosen. They'd be like, "Nah, I can't put up with this for the rest of like this person's life."
Hey,
like, nah.
You don't know. Maybe dragons get freaky too.
I'm sure they do.
Is somebody gonna match my freak? I also loved, so they land, and Violet's like, "See, I can hang on just fine when you're not moving." Taryn's like, "You need to dismount before I rethink my selection."
Yep.
And then their whole banter when she makes it to the roll keeper. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "The pronunciation could use some work." She's like, "Hey, at least I remembered." He's like, "At least I didn't let you fall to your death." Like, trying to one-up each other.
Ugh. They're adorable.
They are.
I love them.
my favorite.
Most of my favorite parts were fuck Dane moments. Like, especially the line, my mouth opens, then shuts like a fish out of water as I search for any reply that isn't fuck off. Like, oh, I wouldn't have been able to hold my tongue. Fucking Dane.
I look Jack straight in those evil eyes and smile. I'm done being scared of him. He ran back in that meadow.
Yeah.
She's starting to, like, come into her own more and more. And I'm here for it.
Me too. We love a strong lady.
So I've got some Xaden lines, of course. Favorited. Xaden says, did I what? Did I see her outnumbered and already wounded? Did I think her bravery was as admirable as it was fucking reckless? I'm like, so you think I'm admirable?
So you think I'm reckless?
Yeah. Which I'm sure is like what pisses him off, because he's like, oh, this reckless bitch I'm tied to now. She's gonna turn around
Get
and
me killed.
die within 2 seconds. And then, of course, well the fuck aware.
Yeah.
Love that line.
I love it. Growl at me, Zaddy.
Each time a dragon chooses a rider, that bond is stronger than the last, which means that if you die of violence, it sets off a chain of events that potentially ends with me dying too. So yeah, unfortunately for everyone involved, there's now an us if the Empyrean lets Terran's choice stand. And I wiggle.
That was one of my favorites as well.
In us, you say, really? Then my last favorite. Violet thinks, I belong to Terran and Indarna, and in some really fucked up way, Xaden.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah, you
too.
do.
Yeah, you do.
Alrighty. Did you have any predictions going forward now that we've got our dragons?
I don't. No.
It's alright.
None that like came to me really.
Fair.
Oh, but I did. Okay, this is where I want to ask my question.
Oh, yes. Good call. Good call.
So since she has 2 dragons, does she get 2 powers?
Possible.
It stands to reason, yes.
Yes.
So I guess, you know what, that's my prediction. She's gonna get 2 powers. I have no idea what they're gonna be, but I bet they're gonna be pretty freaking sweet.
Right? I don't remember if it's been said how signets manifest yet. Or like why certain
so.
signet abilities happen in people.
I don't think they have.
Okay. Then maybe I won't say anything just yet.
Okay. Oakley dokley.
We'll get there. Maybe I'll remember to bring it up later.
Okay.
Shall we get into our song dedication? So for chapter 13, if you don't mind me going first,
Absolutely not. Please do.
I picked I Am Not a Woman, I'm a God by Halsey. This chorus goes back and forth between a lot of opposites. And I feel like that really highlights Violet's uncertainty as she's searching for her dragon. And then again, as she's weighing the merits of helping Andarna. As someone who relies on facts to keep herself grounded, intuition can seem hard to tap into. But Violet contains multitudes, as I said earlier. She can do both, no matter how difficult she can find believing in herself to be. Also, they were told at the beginning of this chapter to listen to their hearts, and there's this like throbbing heartbeat that is pulsing throughout this song that I felt like just kind of fit the intuition vibe I was going with.
Hell
Some
yeah.
standout lyrics I thought made sense in this song, where I just want to feel something, tell me where to go, because everybody knows something I don't want to know. And it's almost like she's scared to lean into the intuition, but then she ends up finding her dragons anyway.
Yeah.
What about you?
So we're coming out swinging with the Disney this time.
Oh, okay.
Because I chose How Far I'll Go from Moana.
Oh.
Because to me, this just felt like this is the moment that she's been waiting for. Like, this is her, like, destiny moment, and she's not going to let, like, anything hold her back. Even when she's, like, kind of unsure still.
Fair. So for chapter 14, I picked Breakfast by Dove Cameron. Violet taking on 3 boys, not men, boys, at once, and holding her own like the baddie she is. Some of the standout lyrics that I thought were fitting were, so you want to talk about power? Let me show you power. I eat boys like you for breakfast. And I know that you tried your bestest. I never said it's right, but I'ma keep doing it. And then the do you want to see a magic trick was the whole like her lifting her arm after.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know what you don't know, but I know. It's like they constantly underestimate me, but I know I'm fucking worth it.
I chose something a little bit more sentimental for this one, because I was very much like in my feelings about her like standing up for the little guy.
Yeah.
So I chose Like a Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel, which is just basically what that entire song is about, and is a song that like I know I did, and I'm sure you did too, have had to like sing through in choirs throughout my life.
Yeah.
But it was always one I enjoyed singing, and I like it, so it feels warm and comforting to me.
Nice. So chapter 15, I picked Fire by Saint Mesa. And this is just Taryn's song. That's it. It's just like, I feel like as he's landing, especially in front of the writer's quadrant with Violet on his back, this is his badass anthem.
I love that. Mine, I was very much like trying to imagine their flight, and like the feeling of that. And I chose Ariel's by System of a Down.
I'm surprised you didn't put any How to Train Your Dragon on there.
I know, honestly. For real. This one just, I don't know, it made me feel a flying, like the vibe of it, and doing aerials in the air and the flipping and the turning, and yeah.
So chapter 16, I picked the song Shadow by Livingston. This I picked for Xaden. Now that the enemies are tethered, this song feels very much like Xaden giving Violet the overprotective us advice. Like, we're stuck together. On the base level, we've got to start trusting each other. I'm going to help you help me by giving you some advice. Stick close, Violence. I may command the shadows, but I am now your shadow, so we don't die. Some of the standout lyrics I had were, it's not the devil at your door, it's just your shadow on your floor. They follow you whenever night falls. Will you still listen to my call? Who do you trust to knowing it all, or knowing it all? Felt very much like, because Violet is so logical, and she bases life on facts. It's like, do you trust me, or are you just gonna be stuck in your ways? Kind of a thing. It's definitely one of those songs where when you listen to it, I think you can get multiple pulls the deeper we get into Xaden and Violet's relationship too.
Yeah.
Have you listened to this song yet?
So for chapter 16, this is the only song that like I didn't actually know, and I like sought out songs that like felt like it fit the vibe of the chapter for me.
Okay.
Which for me was very much like Violet embracing her destiny and like not allowing Dane to tell her like, no, you can't have two dragons, and such. And
I don't think I know this song.
it's good. I hadn't heard of it before, but it's like, it's pretty rocky. I like it. There's a little bit of screaming. Oh, like some of the standout lines for me, like from Fire I'm Born, which also with like the relic and everything, it just felt very like other ones, nothing will stand in my way as I embrace my destiny. Yeah, I felt like this whole like the whole threshing thing just kind of felt very like all coming together, and this is what's supposed to be, like this is right, this is the path, this is the way, kind of thing, you know.
The song's called I Am the Storm.
By Ad Infinitum.
Do they talk about storms at all in the song?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Because you hadn't brought up anything about storms, so I was like...
Yeah. It does. Hold on, where it goes. My heart beats harder than the thunder. From Fire I'm Born, I am the storm.
Interesting. From chapter 17, I picked Decode by Paramore. This song's all about Dane giving mixed signals. Telling her one thing and then doing another. Finally, Violet has made up her mind about him, but it doesn't sit well with her. Standout lyrics, I mean the whole damn song. But how can I decide what's right when you're clouding up my mind? I can't win your losing fight all the time. Nor can I ever own what's mine when you're always taking sides. How do we get here? Well, I used to know you so well. Damn, that one hit me weird. So sad. Like since they were 5 and 6. Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Moving on. Well, how did we get here? Well, I think I know. But you think I can't see what kind of man that you are, if you're a man at all. Oh, I will figure this one out on my own. And then my thoughts you can't decode. Our conversation with him needing the signet ability to read memories because he can't pick up on those signals. I'm just like,
Smart.
very on the nose.
Mine is kind of in the same vein. It is a very much Dane-centric song. So I picked Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. And this one I actually do have a couple of lyrics yesterday. I forgot. The first being, so when we found out we could not make sense, well, you said that we would still be friends. But I'll admit that I was glad it was over. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good one. Haven't heard that song in forever.
I know, it's such a bop. It jams.
It gets stuck in your head immediately.
Yeah. Now you're just somebody that I used to know.
Somebody. We're both just going to be doing that the rest of the night now.
It's true. But yeah, that's just pretty much it.
Yeah, good song choices. I'm excited to hear some of the ones that I don't know.
Me too.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this week's episode.
We are so excited to be on this journey with you.
Haven't had enough of us yet? Stick around for the bloopers and join us next week as we discuss everything that happened in chapters 18 through 21.
Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bound to Be Bad Podcast.
And while you're at it, please be sure to leave a glowing rating and review on your podcast listening platform of choice. It helps us grow.
Know a fellow book baddie who can't get enough of the Empyrean series either? Share us with a friend to give them something to hold on to till the next book release, because who knows when that will be.
Till then, we'll be here, and we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. As this will be Casper's first time reading, spoilers for anything beyond the already read material is not fair game. Already?
I'm so sorry.
Dun 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 dun. What's that commercial?
We are farmers.
That's it.
God, what is time?
A weird
Anyway.
soup. A weird soup.
Time is a weird soup. God, I love you.
Bitch, calm down. I set my book on top of my remote. Sorry. Not you.
But I'm excited.
Then stay excited. That's the way I like you.
That's what I've been told.
Fair.
Can I say something really, really cheesy?
Sure.
I already told him this, so, like, whatever. There are a lot of times where I look at Aaron, my boyfriend, and my tummy just kind of does flippy floppies, and I get butterflies, and he's just really cute, and I love him a lot.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
You can't be in love. That's so gross.
Love is disgusting.
So nasty.
How heteronormative.
You do a disservice to the gays.
I'm gonna lose my queer card.
And, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
God damn it, I lost my headphones again. Frick, hold on. I can hear you. Hold on. I can't. Wait. Here we go. I did
We should have a headphone
a headphone count. How many times can I unplug my headphones because I'm so goddamn fidgety?
You're stepping on the cord. What are you doing? Well, this is my life now.
It is.
Okay, bye. Don't show booty hole on the camera.
Not for free. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it.
Fourth wing, where'd you go?
He said, I know you need more bloopers.
You need more bloopers. If my book is bent, I'm gonna be pissed.
You a lucky cat.